I'd like to call to order the Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. The time is 7 p.m. Please pay respects to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please note the roll.
Noted.
We'll note that Jack Curtis is not here. His son is getting a very prestigious award out in Mississippi, and I send out my happiness for Jack and his son. I know he's proud. His son is going to be running a Air Force squadron, I believe, so he's very proud of his kid. Also, before we start, we've had some kids. I say kids because they are kids. They're from Troop, I believe, 108. It's a Cub Scout pack. And I'm glad they've showed up because if you've noticed on the way in, we have a flag out there, and these gentlemen dug it up and replanted and made it look beautiful. And I'm not going to try to embarrass you guys, but what I'd like you to do is to come up here and just state your name, and because it's a way of thanking you. So, CJ, would you or someone put that down so we can hear these men? Come on up. We promise we won't bite.
Dylan.
Who's next? Ethan? Okay, we'll take that.
Luca.
Okay, Luca. Is that the three that are, hope we have one more?
John Marco.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you on behalf of the township for what you did. You know, we've got an American flag out there. Sometimes it's been disrespected. You guys have respected it by, making everything beautiful around it. And on behalf of the township and, the board up here, we'd like to thank you, you men.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Been moved and supported. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion and supported. Any other questions? Roll call.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Ferrari.
Yes.
Supervisor Dunn.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Ditter.
Yes.
And Trustee Nichols.
Yes.
On to public comment on items not on the agenda. Mr. Davis. Got some important news here for the people on the west side of Oxford Township.
Should I put this back up?
Yeah, you can put it back up.
I met with Bill today on some issues, and he asked me about the cell tower. I talked to Bob Bill earlier this week. The cell tower should be up and running by the end of this month. With Verizon, we've been approached by AT&T. Maybe for some of you trustees who are just new to the board, AT&T worked with us probably 2 years ago for several years on trying to get the cell tower, and the Parks and Rec racked up a $10,000 attorney bill that we were stuck with. So
We had a couple thousand.
and they had a couple thousand. So thanks to Mr. Dunn, he made it perfectly clear to the attorney from AT&T when they called to get on this tower that until we received some type of financial kickback from what we had already paid in attorney fees when they left us, that we would not proceed. So I want to give Bill the credit for sticking to his guns, and I'm sure they'll be coming to us. But we are making progress with the cell tower, so hopefully by the end of the month. And then real quick, Elgin asked me tonight, we had our big lacrosse tournament 2 weeks ago. We had teams from Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Canada, probably 4,000 to 5,000 people in that park. It was just a fantastic event, showcasing not only our park, but our community. So, and then see more celebrations coming up shortly, like Connie and I were just saying, July 6th and 7th, it's upon us. So busy times at the Parks and Rec, but exciting times as well. So thanks.
Thank you, Ron. Any other public comment on items not on the agenda? Moving along. Now we go to the audit. Raina, nice to see you again this year. Happy New Year.
Good evening. I guess it is kind of a happy new year. It's my pleasure. Again, I'm Raina Evans. I'm a partner with PSLZ. It's my pleasure this evening to present to you the Charter Township of Oxford's annual audited financial statements for your fiscal year ended December 31st, 2017. And I will point out I'm here presenting a month earlier than I usually am because our year supervisor just kind of lit a fire and wanted to make it happen. So here we are. He's really good at that. I do have a very good report for you this evening. I'll try and keep it as brief as possible.
Thank you.
I have my notes here. So starting out, you do have an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level audit opinion possible, meaning no exceptions, no disclaimers, nothing bad to report in it. So we'll take that. That is the usual township audit, is an unmodified opinion. This year, property taxes pretty much, we've been seeing about a 2% increase the last couple years. I mean, we've come out of kind of a slump. But this year, we didn't actually go up. We pretty much stayed the same and made, like less than 1% negative, I would say. So we do have a lot of development going on, so I think you're probably going to see that start to creep up a little bit, hopefully. But your property values, of course, I mean, the township's in great position, so we hope to see those revenues going up shortly. The state share revenue, which we hadn't also, was creeping along at about a 2% increase, is now, this year we had an 8% increase, and that is from the state collects sales and income tax, and they distribute it to the local units, and they've been a little more generous than usual. So we haven't seen an 8% increase in a long, long time. So they're not promising that will continue, but we will take that for the time being. We did eat into the general fund balance this year. We used up $923,000 of the general fund balance, but a significant portion of that came from the Elkview settlement. And so that's a one-time thing. Obviously, we don't anticipate that happening again. But with that, you did come in under budget by about $200,000 in general fund expenditures this year, which is great because you monitor your expenses monthly, and we don't end up with a bunch of surprises at the end of the year. You do a nice job with that. But so we did have some one-time things like Elkview, and also we did some asphalt maintenance on the pass, which came out of the general fund this year.
Fire department.
Well, and those were extra contributions that the general fund transferred out this year. So the general fund did transfer an extra $200,000 in MERS to throw at the MERS unfunded liability for the pension plan for the fire department. If you're looking at the fire department, if you're looking at the fire fund, it may look like it has higher expenditures, but in reality, we've now combined the fire ALS, fire EMS funds into the fire operating millage fund. And those were pretty much used up in fiscal year 16. We used up the ALS and EMS funds. So now all the expenditures are coming out of the fire operating millage fund. So that's why it looks like it's higher, but it really isn't higher on the fire department expenditures. So if anyone's looking at that, I didn't want that to be misleading. But the extra $200,000 general fund transferred to the fire department, and that extra $200,000 came out of the fire department as far as the actual contribution. So that's reflected there as well. The park bond. Well, you have a park bond construction fund from the park bond that was issued last year meaning fiscal year 16. We showed the $2 million in bond proceeds came in, but we didn't use any of it in 16. 17, we used up about half of that, so we're down to $943,000 left at fiscal year end, and I know you've already been using some of that now that it's springtime when we've continued on with the project. You might even be almost done with it now, I'm not sure about that, but at 12/31/17, we had 940-some thousand left in fund balance of the leftover bond proceeds, which
Well, they'll go. They'll be gone.
I'm sure there are plans for that. One thing I want to point out in the water and sewer funds, operationally, the numbers look about the same as last year, but the tap fees are down this year significantly, but nothing to be concerned about. I just want to kind of point out to you, if you're looking at that in fiscal year 17, we had $600,000 less in tap fees, that's water and sewer combined, than fiscal year 16. So that took a drop. But 16 was unusually high. So we had $1.7 million in tap fees in fiscal year 16, and we're down to about 1.1 this year. I mean, so $600,000, it's still significant that we got 1.1 million in water and sewer tap fees. That just is a reflection of your development right now that's going on. In comparison, 2015 tap fees combined were $845,000. So we're still really happy at 1.1, but obviously that's not going to continue forever, but I just those are big numbers, and I just wanted to make you aware of where we're standing with that. We did take a drop this year, but we're still pretty high with that number. And if you look at the water sewer fund, the other thing I'd like to point out to your cash flow, you used up about $1.1 billion in actual cash in the water fund, and that was strictly due to construction activities, your water main project. It wasn't due to operational concerns or anything like that. You planned to do that, and that was, the project went as expected. And you also prepaid the Clinton-Oakland sewer fund. That we're going to have you finance that over a number of years. You just paid it up front, and we're done with it.
We saved a lot of money in interest.
Yes.
A lot of interest.
Yes. No, that was definitely a good move. And the residents should thank you for that one. That's because you have been paying for years on that. Lastly, I will say that, I guess as far as cash flow goes, also in the general fund, if you look at our investment earnings, they look about the same as last year, which I knew that your investments were doing really well this year, so I kind of looked extra at that. But of course, our illustrious treasurer was on that. We used up a lot of cash this year with the settlement and in the projects. So he made about the same amount of interest with a lot less cash. So, I'll give him a pat on the back for that, because that was, and you're very conservative. He's very careful about what he's investing in, who he's investing in, and still, trying to maximize the return for the township. So another good year there, Joe. Lastly, I will say, so defined benefit plan, the pension plan, also a lot of big numbers out there. But the good news is that what we talk about every year is the net pension liability, which is the total liability, pension liability out there, minus the assets you have set aside for it in trust, is roughly your net pension liability. So this year, though, it stayed about the same. I mean, literally, we only went up $5,000, which is pretty much nothing. That's because MERS actually made some money this year. So with your net investment earnings just in the MERS trust fund, in fiscal year 16, you were actually negative net investment earnings,
Did they make their
41,000.
8% that they promised?
There's 775.
Well, they would tell you that over 30 years they beat that number. But so in your numbers, fiscal year 16, you actually showed a net investment loss on your plan overall. And this year we had a $309,000 net investment income. So that's a pretty big spread, and that kind of smoothed over a lot of the issues and actuarial assumptions and that type of thing that keep changing on us. So that's a good thing. So, and now that you've contributed that extra lump sum payment to the plan, you will see that in the next year or two. That'll also be a positive note in the pension plan. It's not going to show up right away, but within a year or two, that's going to show up in your.
But as long as you're talking about the pension plan, would you recommend, if you were me, to consider contributing more to the pension plan?
Yes, the short answer is yes. The more you can throw at it right now, early and often, as opposed to later on, the more results you're going to see in moving that needle to a fully funded status. You're in the like 59% right now.
Even with the 200 or higher.
Well, you're not going to see that in the numbers yet for a year or two, because your actuarial evaluation is almost 2 years behind where we're reporting. So within a year or two, that's going to help.
This is not going down.
We're not going down. We're bumping up.
It's going-
Well, so if the stock market goes in our favor and you keep throwing money at it, you're definitely going to see faster positive results. But again, it's one thing to throw extra contributions at it, but the earlier you can do it, you will see with the compounding and everything, you will see much faster results and better results by doing it now.
So you're looking for questions from us?
If anyone has any.
Is there any questions from the
I
board?
think you also, I know this is more intricate, the property tax part of it, we might also want to mention the personal property starting to phase out. That's why property tax are going down too, because that's not part of the whole state LCFA process, the local community stabilization, and there's no rustle with that. So what we're supposedly losing, the state's making us whole. So
Okay.
that was a property tax, now it's like a revenue sharing tax.
Right, so they are, for residents, there's a phase out of the personal property tax that the state is doing away with by 2019, 2020, it should be fully phased out. So that's lost revenue to the local units like the township, that you're no longer, it's phasing out and then it'll be gone. So in the interim, right now, the state is trying to reimburse the local units for that lost revenue, and they have these intricate formulas and all these forms that Joe has to file.
It's been happening.
And the state is even having a hard time getting their arms around their own formula. But it's been, they're trying to replace things like lost police millage, like public safety, lost fire millages. That's what they're really concerned about, what they call essential services. They want to make sure that they're at least giving you something back for that lost revenue, because you've relied on that money for officers, fire, personnel, and other important things that go on. So they're trying. They're actually, it's been a decent amount of money that they've been distributing. We can't count on it. It's really swings as far as dollar wise. They can't even estimate it for us. So we're not going to plan on it. We're going to take it as a windfall and say thank you very much. When you say that's pretty accurate?
Yeah, I think that is. I just don't like how they come up with their calculations. That's why I sent the letter to the state. When they cut the fire fund out, just because it went for a different millage, and they couldn't understand that it's the same millage.
And Treasurer Ferrari does a really nice job with, and I can't say this in all communities, when the state just sends you that check, they send it in just one lump sum. There's no detail behind it. And he takes the time to properly allocate that to all the millage funds to make sure that they're getting their reimbursement. I mean, many communities, it just goes to the general fund and they call it a day. For all those reasons I gave you, we can't really quantify it necessarily. There isn't, we don't know what the check's going to be until it gets here, and we can't count on it. So, but Treasurer Ferrari does take the time to do that. I mean, even the library, he makes sure everybody gets their fair share, and he goes above and beyond as far as making, allocating that out, and everyone, being very fair about it.
During the process, and you've said it before, I'm not really part of the process, but the people that work for me are, the people that work for Curtis and the people. Could you comment on how they're doing as far as giving you the information you need?
Well, I'm here a month early, note that for the record, and that's because it is, and I've said it many times, it is a team process, and mostly it's the deputy supervisor, deputy treasurer, deputy clerk, Kelly, everyone in the office is involved. The fire department, are wonderful. I mean, everyone who I ask for it and they deliver it to me. I rarely wait for any information. Everyone's doing a nice job, and I don't mean to be, overly. I'm not trying to be a cheerleader here. I mean that very sincerely. This job doesn't get done without everyone's help.
I'm trying to be the cheerleader for them. You know,
Well, it
people
is.
say, you know, this board has done a lot. Well, this board can't do nothing without the people that actually do the work in the office and supply the numbers when needed or explanations of where this money went. So what I'm trying to do is highlight them and thank them.
And I certainly appreciate them. They all know their job and then some. If I have a question about really anything, there's a lot that goes on here at the township. I mean, you're here at all your meetings and you see all the stuff that goes on, and we've got to quantify it after it all happens, after you've made all the decisions. We've got to make sure everything gets in the spot that it's supposed to be in, that we're meeting the proper budget, that we're complying with all the state and federal requirements. All that happens. I mean, your staff's doing that.
And I'm not just trying to say just the township staff, I'm talking about Joanne and the fire department.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a team effort to get everything done right.
Fire department's a very big part of the township books, and no, I've always since really appreciated that. We worked on, I mean, just something as simple as, you know, we had a couple millages, you know, and then we had the new millage. I mean, just the
Combining.
right, combining, conversion, everything. Everyone wants to do everything the right way, and I'm very appreciative of that, because that makes my life a whole lot easier. I don't have to come in with a big stick and say, oh, you did it all wrong. You know, you want to do the right thing. You always ask for recommendations. Your staff always asks for recommendations on how to do something better, and you know, you can't ask for a better client than that. And this board always backs me up, backs your staff up. You know, we all do the right thing because we've got great staff, very conscientious, and great leadership.
What a nice report. Any other comment or questions from the board?
I got one. Up on the screen, Raina, it shows covered employee payroll. What's the reason for the $300,000 increase? Do you know right offhand? Right here it says 967, and it fluctuates to 1295.
Well, I'm not going to put the fire department on the spot there, but they might know quicker than I do as far as, I mean, we didn't really, did we add staff at some point? Because like I said, remember, these are a couple years in behind.
If they're 2016, we had two new department members, but this is 2017.
And that wouldn't be a $200,000, $300,000 swing either. We can look at the MERS numbers, and because that's where this chart is coming right from MERS.
Any other board questions, comments? Raina? Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And, you know, I would like to thank Joe Ferrari. He had some good response there on what he's done right with our money, and I'd like to congratulate Joe for doing that.
I move to receive and file the Charter Township of Oxford audited financial report for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2017, as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the proposed ordinance 56.007, park hours and use. I believe this went from 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock to sunset to sunrise to sunset. It seems pretty self-explanatory. I can assume that's probably went to the attorney for, since it's a change in the ordinance, to do what he's got to do to make that happen.
I move to forward proposed ordinance 56.007, park use and hours, return to run truck for review, and schedule second reading and possible adoption, July 11th, 2018, Oxford Township Board meeting, pending attorney and run truck's review.
And seconded. Any other questions? Probably spending money. Roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Nichols?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Dare?
Yes.
And Supervisor Dunn.
Yes. Let's go on to the fire department. 9A, EMS coordinator position. Chief?
Evening, Board. First on the agenda item, I'm coming to you with a request to do something about our EMS coordinator position. The person has been off for over a year now for injury, has gone through surgery, has gone through therapy, has been signed off by workman's comp doctor, it's been signed off by therapy doctors, but her personal doctor still has limitations. Our contract does not allow them to do light duties, so it's still off in a definite time. Not sure if it's going to be 6 months, it's going to be the rest of the year. Per the contract, they are allowed up to 2-year leave for injury. That doesn't necessarily state that workman's comp carries the entire time, but it does state that, you know, they have to be allowed to have that time off, whether it's on paid leave or whatever. In the meantime, the department still has to function. This position oversees all of our training for our EMS, ALS. This position also oversees all of our billing that we send in from all of our runs to Acumed. The position also does all the QI on those calls to make sure that the guys are doing a proper job and making sure that everything's done correctly, paperwork's filled out and sent in. Is in charge of ordering all of our medical supplies, is in charge of getting our license every single year from the state, going through the audits on that. Also attending all the medical control meetings at Oakland County, which are a couple times a month, and make sure that we're current on all of our CEs and our training, everything. So it's a very busy position that there's a lot of stuff that goes on, a lot of responsibilities. In the meantime, Assistant Chief Creech, Captain Staff, Joanne, a couple other individuals have been picking up all the slack in the meantime. Overtime has been accrued for some of the work for coming in and trying to get some of it covered. In the meantime, there's no foreseeable fix. So what I'm looking for is your authorization so that we can go ahead to look at filling the position to make sure that we've got someone in that position that can continue the department forward. In the meantime, we just can't stop business because the position is empty.
Would it be helpful if that individual would contact us to basically tell us what their timetable is?
Most definitely, that would help.
And to this day, we haven't had any response from
No.
the individual? Yes, Joe?
Since this person's covered under the union, has Mr. Snuggle leadership had any contact with that person to get an idea of what's going on because they represent her?
I believe in the last couple of days, yes, they have had some phone conversations with them, but there hasn't been much leading up until the last couple of days ago.
There's no way to work with them since she is represented by them. So they'd be the first point of contact to let them know what's going on.
Actually, because the person is working through workman's comp right now, it's between them and workman's comp.
So even the union's not involved in that?
At this point, it's out of their control at this point too, because workman's comp is the one that actually, covers them.
But it would still be nice to know intentions.
Some future date, yes.
Does the union have any objection with proceeding?
They haven't voiced any, we've had conversations with them, we've talked back and forth. They're nervous about it because, again, they want to protect the position and make sure that we have an EMS coordinator no matter what. So that's what they're trying to protect the position on that. So.
Would you like to speak?
If you'd like to speak, Kevin, come on up.
I have no problem speaking. So we have had some discussions, the chief and I, trying to figure out what the right thing to do for the employee, for the township, for the fire department, for the community. At this point, she has 2 years to return to duty. This person has 2 years to return to duty. There is no vacancy right now in the position. There's an injury. I know that the chief has spoken to the attorney about possibly filling the position and moving that person to another position. I would ask the board not to do that. I feel personally if the fire chief got hurt on the job and the assistant chief took over his duties, when he returned to duty, you wouldn't put him somewhere else and let the assistant chief turn into the fire chief. So I just putting that kind of on that ocean. Let's give the individual the proper time that she needs to get back to duty. When the time comes she's unable to return to duty, I'm more than willing to work with the township and the fire chief on replacing the vacancy. So
the union's position gives us to keep it vacant?
The union's position is that the position is not vacant until the employee resigns, retires, or is terminated. That's my opinion of the vacancy of the position. She's not there. She's not doing the job right now. But to hire another person, and then when she comes back to work, you're going to end up with another full-time person at that point.
Thanks, Kevin.
No problem. Excuse me.
Yes.
The question I would have then is, if you were to fill this vacancy and she came back, where would you put her?
Ideally, I hope to be able to fill this position from within. And if that was the case, that would just be a shuffle from one position to the other.
If we,
That would be the ideal situation.
Chief, if we go along with this doesn't mean it's going to happen now. It could happen 6 months, it could happen 9 months,
It's
it could happen a year from
a
now.
considerable amount of time. We still have to sit down with the union and discuss this position, what we're trying to do with it, and then update it by the time we go through posting and all the procedures that goes along with it. You know, we're not looking at anything that's going to happen overnight.
So it's not, tomorrow you're not going out for advertising and doing whatever.
In your professional opinion, could this position be vacant for another year?
Could it be?
I mean, for the health of the department, is something you guys can, cover for another year?
Not efficiently. I mean, and again, it's taking time away from everybody else's job to be stepping in trying to cover that work. I mean, did you take over the clerk's position and also take part of the planning department or the building department at the same time?
I used to know what that person's role will be.
Yes, Elgin.
I actually have two concerns here. The first one is that should this person decide to come back, that she would have a job.
By law, we're required to still have a job for the person.
Okay,
For
the
the
other-
individual, it does not have to be the same position, it has to be the same job, make sure the same money. type of account.
Same way.
That's what I thought, but I want to have you say this. The other thing is that if you look at this thing, I think from your standpoint, you're really in a situation where it's a hardship for you and the people that are filling into this spot. And I believe the union representative also would be inclined to say that it affects the employees as well in that way. My opinion would be that you should probably fill this slot. I don't think it's going to go away. And if it doesn't go away and she comes back, you made an offer for her to continue working, or that individual to continue working.
We'll figure something out.
Okay.
Pete, could theoretically, one of the folks that's a union member, you're asking to fill in this role, could they make a grievance as well? Like, let's say,
I wouldn't be making them do it, it would be offering as a promotional opportunity is what it would be.
like for those that are just helping out, could they make a grievance to the union saying, hey, why do I have to do this one?
I'm quite sure Chief Creech wouldn't want to be upset about giving up the work and Joanna, the stuff that she's doing either.
Okay.
But if they're doing lieutenant's work, they would demand lieutenant's pay, whether it's a sergeant or whoever, correct?
Potentially.
I move to authorize Chief.
Could I speak one more time?
Certainly, come on up, Kevin.
For Elgin's comment about possibly filling the position and then putting her somewhere else, once again, as just because it's legally allowed to move the person to another position doesn't mean it's the right thing to do for that person. For the person filling the position, she has put a lot of time, 11 plus years in this department. Not everybody maybe has got along with her all the time on a regular basis, but she's a hard worker, she does her job, and she's off on injury right now. She holds a rank, she holds pay. If the township were to move her to another position, the union would ask to keep her rank and her pay. So now you're going to pay her the same amount of money, the same rank, to do, I don't know what else she would do. So it really doesn't make a lot of sense to try to move her somewhere else.
How long has she been off?
I believe she got hurt June 1st, 2007.
A year and a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
basically.
So I know currently Chief Creech has handled most of the billing that she handled. Captain Staff is handling most of the training she's handling. Joanne has handled most of the EMS supply stock with the help of most of the full-timers. The union contract does state that the employees, we'll call it a vacancy because she's not there, but it's not a vacant position, is able to be filled by any bargaining unit members, which would be any members of the union. And then the township has the right to spend 96 hours every 28 days to fill it with non-bargaining unit positions. We've worked together with the township on this. We have not filed a grievance on their behalf. We have not calculated hours. We've not gone to the chief's office saying, how long are you spending on this, and which we've worked together. It's been a very smooth transition to fill the amount of duties and what's been going on. So at this point, I would just ask the board to reconsider their thoughts on that, to just let things play the way they've been playing out. We will work with the chief on, gentleman talks on what we can do if there's a possibility of a vacancy, but an actual formal discussion, I wouldn't be in favor of that.
Excuse me, is it union people that are filling in right now for these jobs?
It's mixed. Chief Creech is non-union, Joanne is non-union, captain staff is union. Other full-time firefighters are union who are helping out with different things that are happening. It's kind of a good mix right now.
Because we're just relying on their goodwill. Some of the other full-timers could say, I'm being called in to do this duty, why am I doing this duty? That's not my role.
Correct. And that's why I said I think for the last year, it's been a pretty smooth transition, that we haven't had many complaints, many problems, many concerns, many issues. So I think it's been a good working relationship this year with her being off.
So you feel the attitude of the people filling in is good?
I feel the attitude's good, yeah. I haven't personally heard any problems. I haven't seen any written documents in my mailbox that there was a problem, a concern, or an issue from the union standpoint.
They're not complaining about the strain that they have by filling in?
Not on my side, no.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, sir.
It's board's pleasure.
But even if we proceed, it doesn't commit us either way, correct?
Doesn't do anything.
It basically keeps things moving. It doesn't commit us to fill the position or not fill the position.
I think it sends a message that we're kind of in a bind, and we'd like to have some help in resolving this one way or another. Hope I didn't say anything wrong. I mean,
I move to authorize Fire Chief Schultz to start the process of filling the vacancy for the MS coordinator position for the Oxford Fire Department.
move,
I'll second.
seconded. Any other questions? Roll call.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Dur.
Yes.
Trustee Nichols.
Yes.
Supervisor Dunn.
Yes.
And Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Thanks, Chief. On to item number 2.
The chiefs and the bargaining unit have been meeting to resolve the MERC petition and the ULP regarding the current recruitment and retention program manager position. As part of that negotiation, we have also been working on updating the vacant lieutenant fire inspector position. The lieutenant fire inspector position has been seeing a bonus increase in the current and past contract to bring the wages up to be consistent with surrounding departments and the correct wage of a lieutenant. The current rate would still take another 5 years to accomplish this. The position is now vacant with the retirement of Mr. Horton. We have updated the job description with working with the union to go through this, and we are requesting to update the wage to reflect comparatives to surrounding departments. The proposed MOA will withdraw the MERC petition and the ULP from the union and recognize the recruitment and retention program manager as a non-union employee. We will also move forward to fill the position of the lieutenant inspector position.
Is the union in agreement? I'm trying to be
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
devil's advocate.
You need me to come up there?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. We'll share the podium. Yes, the union is agreement with the tentative agreement that we came to. That should be in front of you, I believe. I'm not sure.
It is in front of us.
The tentative agreement that's in front of you is the agreement that the township, on behalf of the fire chief and me as the union president, did come to an agreement on.
So this will be signed by both sides, it'll be inserted into the contract to be continued until the first of the year? Is that all?
Correct. Until the term of this contract expires, and then we could renegotiate a possible change, keep it
Different
the
wording.
same, or, yes, correct. But yeah.
Is there any comments or concerns from the board?
I move to approve the memorandum of agreement between the Township of Oxford and the Oxford Firefighter Union, IAF Local 4673, as presented, and authorize Supervisor William Dunn, Fire Chief Peter Schultz, to sign the memorandum of agreement on behalf of the Township of Oxford.
Support.
Moved and supported. We're gonna, if there's no questions, roll call.
Trustee Nichols.
Yes.
Trustee Dur.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor Dunn.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
On to the drone.
There are a couple, in working with the clerk today, who's always very vigilant over these kind of things. We did find a couple of small grammatical errors,
You always will.
just one or two items here, so we will get a clean copy of that before we bring it forward for the team.
Did you find something I missed?
He did.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I tried.
Multiples.
I tried.
So we'll
Nothing
get
gets
that
back
straight.
first, right?
We'll bring you a clean copy.
That is true.
Okay, third of mine on the list. Anthony,
That's a
come on up.
I know.
The fire department is continuing to improve our technology and our training, our fire ground tactics, and most important, our pre-planning of our community to be prepared for an emergency. We have budgeted this year to purchase a UAS, which is an unmanned aerial system, and a training tool along with it. We're working with the consultant and our attorney to obtain, Brent Trump, the attorney, to obtain COA certification through the FAA, establish policies and protocols on the operation of the UAS and the training of our staff in the operation of it. This package that we're working with, he's making sure that we've got everything in place for it, so FAA basically signed off on it the last day or so, so we're good to go on that portion of it, and we will be getting our training, that they will be coming on site to actually train us. I will have firefighter Graybell now will do a presentation to you to give you some more background, some more information on it.
This just kind of shows the uses.
Tell me, state your name, just for the record.
Anthony Graywell, firefighter paramedic. Can we get it switched over? Thank you. Okay, again, this is just some of the uses that we were looking for to better the department, minimize injury. That's the drone picture of the one we were looking at there. This is a training that we did in Addison Township. We had a drone from Washington Township where they took some overhead footage of what we were doing. So we were able to see what we did good, could do better. This would be one use for what we would use it for the department. Fire prevention, as the chief mentioned, the pre-plans. We're working on getting into a new software where we would have pre-plans for all of the businesses in town, where if we ever have an incident, we could have overhead footage of the dangers that might be rooftop.
If I could, just interrupt for a minute.
Yeah.
When you say pre-plan, you'll know where chemicals are, or fire hydrants, or,
Correct.
so you know exactly kind of what you're getting
Where
into?
department connections are, where nearest hydrant is, what the layout of the building is, what the layout of the property, surrounding property is, ahead of time, when we can get that imagery from the drone. So this is our Google Earth photo. This is with the drone. Just up to date stuff.
Excuse me.
Changing
Can
every
I
day.
get you to speak up a little louder? Thank you.
So with using the pre-planned software with the drone footage, we could have up to date, and as you know, the township's always changing, we're always getting new buildings. And through our inspection process, we would be able to keep up to date on this with every building every year. Another use would be post-incident analysis. We got a fire or a bad accident, something where we have this deployed. We could watch the footage at a later date, use it as a training tool. Again, see what we did good, what we could do better. Public relations, we could use it for like our open house or different events that we do with the fire department, parades. Put the line in there about privacy. Like, I think that's an issue that people see with drones, is a lack of respect for privacy. But as we already practice the HIPAA laws, we're very good about keeping privacy. And that will be in our policies and procedures as we move forward with this consulting firm. The one we're looking at getting has a thermal imager, so we would be able to get an overhead view while we're fighting fire from the command post, where chiefs are sitting in a vehicle, not being able to see what's going on inside the building, can get a lot better view of what's actually happening.
So they would have a good idea where the fire is by the hot spot or the red area in there, and at least be able, through thermal imaging, notice where our firefighters are and direct them to a point.
Correct. You can see where firefighters are on the ground. You can see that fire is progressing in a different part of the building where you don't have personnel deployed. You can deploy them more easily.
Keep them safer too.
My concern is, yeah, like you're saying, Joe, is because I know that when they go into a fire, someone's standing there saying so-and-so went into the fire, but that's it. They don't know what's going on inside the fire. They don't know if they're going at the wrong place or into a dangerous situation. Is one of the main reasons I want this, is because of safety. Not only for the fire department, but for an individual in a house fire. When the fire starts, nobody knows who's exactly in there. You know, you might bring 2 people out and there might be someone else left in there, whether it's a person or a dog. You know, a dog is a child to some people. But it's important to make sure everyone, all living human beings and dogs or whatever, get out. And your firefighters.
Absolutely.
Elgin.
I've got a bunch of them. We'll begin somewhere. Who's going to be the pilot for this time?
With the consulting firm that we're working with now, we have a class scheduled already to where he will train 6 personnel from our department to be able to train anybody else on the department.
So you're going to have 6 pilots within?
Those
Those
6 people will be able to train anybody on the department. So once this is all done, anybody on the department will be able to fly it.
Now also, this unit has 2 cameras.
Correct.
One for day and one for infrared or
Thermal.
heat seeking. Yeah. And he's right. I mean, you can overview a building and know who's moving around inside. Is this part of Dan Sanders' program that he put together?
No, this is not to do with his program. The pre-planning software that we're working on towards is with his.
Okay, because I saw what he has done. It's amazing. I'll have more questions as we go along, so I'm sorry for interrupting.
Okay. So, aerial locating, like finding somebody, search and rescue. We've ran practice flights with my own personal drone over some of the gravel pit areas, and something where it would take you hours on hours to cover on foot, you can cover in just a few minutes from the air. Locating a victim in the water, now the thermal imaging can't see through the water, but the regular camera could. And if you've got somebody under the water, you could be able to deploy this and find the victim sooner than the dive team can. Some other additional uses, just assessing after a large incident. We had a storm, we could assess what roads are closed before we're able to go out and drive all of them. We could fly over most of them fairly quickly. This is a short video clip to show the difference of the regular camera and the thermal imaging camera from the air on a fire scene.
So the yellow we're seeing is the hot, is that correct?
Yes. Okay, this is the video I was looking for.
You can actually adjust the shades to determine where the hot spots are.
The main picture is your regular camera. The picture up in the corner is what they're showing with the thermal imager. So what you're seeing from the ground or with a regular camera in the air is just smoke. But as you can see in the other picture,
The red is the flames.
is a large amount of fire, where all you're seeing otherwise is just smoke.
So nobody will be able to see that on the ground, though.
Correct.
On that video there, does it depict what floor the flames are coming from?
And I just picked this quick video to show the difference in it.
There's smoke and actual image.
Well, I would imagine you could fly the drone a little lower to
Correct.
get the
Correct.
visual on what floor.
You could also have the full 360-degree visual all the time.
I can see the firefighters running around the outside there too.
You can actually program this drone, set it for making a circle if it wants, even set the height you want,
Sure.
all kinds of things.
Well, since we don't have anything more than 2 stories.
This is a DJI drone, which is pretty sophisticated, it's commercial grade.
Correct. That was, that's what I was getting to here. With the commercial grade drone, why we're wanting to go with this one rather than a $1,000 drone like the one that I have for kind of a toy. It's got better camera systems. You can fly up to a 30 times optical zoom camera on it, as well as the thermal imaging. They have a new camera out now that's got both of them, so in the future you could fly the thermal imager and the optical camera on the same camera. This currently would be able to fly both cameras at the same time, so you have, like that image just was there with the optical camera and the thermal camera.
So your monitor then would view both cameras? if you
Correct.
wanted to? Okay. Do you have another auxiliary monitor that you can put it on as well?
That's not included in this quote. That would be something we would look towards in the future.
Okay.
But you can cast it to an iPad or anything like that, so it would be able to be viewed by multiple people.
Tony, I'm going to try to get to the point. I think $14,000 is not that much money for the possibilities of this piece of equipment.
Mr.
I
Chairman,
just want to make sure, I'm going to just make a
I don't
statement.
mean to interrupt here, but
You did.
I went through, I know you did, Alpha, you're using Alpha as a price list here, and I went through the price list, and for some strange reason, I come up with $17,073 off their sheet.
There's a discount.
What's going on, missing?
There's a discount,
There's a discount.
$2,500.
$500 discount?
2116.
He got in kind of a
it over and over.
bidding war with the other company and offered us a discount for using him as a consultant.
Well, he's looking
So there's
at,
a $2,121 credit or rebate. Very good, thank you, answer my question, sorry to interrupt, I got it.
but I think this is a useful piece of equipment. Times are changing, and if it can save one life, it's $14,000, nothing. I just want to make sure it's insured, and the people don't use it as a toy to kill time. There's going to be policies and procedures or some sort of a written handbook on what can be done, what can't be done.
We will have policies and procedures written on it, as well as what comes from the FAA with what we are and are not allowed to do with it.
Would there be a motion to,
I move to approve the purchase of a Matrice 2110, a 210 combo unmanned aerial system with accessories from Alpha Consulting Group, an amount not to exceed $14,957. This $14,957 amount is to be expensed to Fire Fund account number 213-357-970.001, capital outlay.
Support.
moved and supported? Curtis, you had a question?
I do have a question. It was mentioned, Chief, that you were planning to have this used by other adjoining departments.
It would be available for mutual aid to go to, our individuals would be the ones that would be piloting it, but if it's called for mutual aid, we'd be able to respond like we do right now to take a fire truck or a tanker to another department. It'd be another piece of firefighting tool that would be able to take to another
And
department.
we would be the ones operating the drone.
Absolutely.
And does the insurance carry to another municipality?
Our insurance insures, all of the entire department is insured through VFIS, and this is considered a portable equipment is what it's considered as. So technically, our policy already covers portable equipment. This is just another add-on to it. It also includes, it has a $500 deductible, but if it crashes and the entire thing, is destroyed, it is replaceable under the insurance will cover it. Also covers liability and everything else on it, so it's covered through our current policy. And it's just the same as if we take like I said, we take a fire truck next door to the neighboring department, or one of our chainsaws or whatever we take, it's all covered under our insurance.
The batteries here in the quote is for 4 batteries. Are the batteries interchangeable with each component, the cameras? Are they?
Yes, the batteries are just for the drone body itself.
Okay.
Cameras are going for that.
And you need 2 batteries, one for each component, I take it, and you want 2 for backup?
Correct.
Okay. And what's the shelf life on the battery?
Pull a number out of the air. 2 years.
5 years.
All right, so they're not just going to go dead on you, sitting there?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? If not, roll call.
Supervisor Don?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Nichols?
Yes.
And Trustee Dur?
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
Thanks, Chief.
We still have fire department issues.
We can still be on fire department
So
issues.
how's the union negotiations going? I've not heard anything.
They're not.
Oh, they're not? Does it expire at the end of this year?
It is already set to start during the next couple of weeks.
Okay, I think, start ramping that up.
So get on it.
Okay.
We don't want to have special meetings in December. Master plan draft for review and distribution. Don Wortman of Wortman and Associates. Carlisle Wortman.
Mr. Supervisor, member of the boards, good evening, and thank you for inviting us here tonight. You know that the Planning Commission in our office has been actively working on the draft master plan, which I'm happy to say is now completed. I believe that it was in your packet, but I'm really here tonight to answer any questions, but also to seek your permission to proceed with the next step, which would be to distribute this draft document to surrounding communities and the county for the state mandated or state required 63-day review period. So Public Act 33, the Municipal Planning Act, does require now that communities forward a draft master plan to surrounding communities. But they first of all state that it's up to the township board to authorize this. So we're not asking authorization of this plan specifically or finalization of the plan. All we're seeking is permission to send the draft document to surrounding communities for their review and input. After this 63-day period, then the state also does require a public hearing, which the Planning Commission would conduct. After that public hearing, the Planning Commission can make additional comments or changes, as well as the Township Board. So I wanted to emphasize, this is still a fluid document, but at this stage right now, the Planning Commission at least feels that the document is ready for distribution to the surrounding communities. But again, it's up to the board to authorize that distribution. So I'm here tonight to answer any questions, and
Don, I've got just a couple quick comments. The one thing I didn't realize that this procedure is conducted by the Planning Commission, and the Township Board can give its blessing, but it's actually done by the Planning Commission. I didn't realize that before. They're the ones that, okay, correct?
Typically, the Planning Commission is the body that adopts the master plan. The state statute does, however, authorize that if the board wishes to take that over from the Planning Commission, that is an option that's out.
Oh, they can take it over. I thought it was...
It's not Most communities, however, defer that responsibility to the planning commission.
And one other thing is, I'd like to comment, you and your staff, I know Matt Montestatter is gone. What a wonderful kid. He was very smart. He did a great job the time he was here. Also Lauren, I believe it's Lauren Carlson.
Lauren Carlson.
I've talked to her and I've taken her around and I'm very impressed with her credentials. And I hope she does as good a job as Matt and even who's that? Brian Ottman before him. They've all done a wonderful job for the township.
I like to think that we only hire good people, so, but thank you.
But you need to retain them a little more.
Yeah, I know. And Lauren and I will both be at the planning commission meeting tomorrow night, so.
Any other, Curtis?
Yeah, there's some comments I do have. Is that to be reserved for the next public hearing or when it comes back to the township board? Do you want them now? Give them
Whenever, yes, whenever.
Why don't you give them to Lauren?
I'll talk with her tomorrow.
Okay, all right. She'll be in the office tomorrow, yeah.
I move to approve the distribution of the draft copy of the Charter Township of Oxford 2018 Master Plan dated May 2nd, 2018 to the public and neighboring jurisdictions for comment as required by the Michigan Planning and Enabling Act.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Don.
Okay, thank you very much. We look forward to your comments.
Community Center, Senior Center, Cable Facility Update, Director Davis.
Before Don leaves, I gotta say this, it's a comment he just made about good people attract good people, or when you find someone good, stay with them. For you guys that don't know, when I started here in 95, I'd done some work with Dick Carlisle in Independence Township in 89. When I started here, the township planner was not Carlisle Wortman. I'd like to think we were the reason that we brought them to us, to the Parks and Rec Master Plan, and it's been a great relationship since then. So Don's been a great friend, and you can't say enough about their company. So it's been a pleasure working with you, Don.
Well, thank you, Ron.
Thank you. So just kind of ironically, you find good people, stay with them. So yeah, there's three. We titled this Community Center, Senior Center, and Park Cable Facility Update. So I just want to kind of bring you up to date for the Community Center. It has exceeded our expectations. Some of you guys have been out there, some of you haven't, but you will be getting an invite from us in July to come out so you can take a tour of that facility as well as our maintenance barn. But the Community Center so far has met all the needs of us as far as programming. We're doing some senior stuff, but it's rented every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays. During the week, it's being used by Cub Scouts, nonprofit groups, quilting classes, so it's really exceeded our expectations. Actually, we're struggling trying to meet the demand on the weekends. So the need is there. We knew it was there, and it's kind of exceeded our expectations. As far as the cable facility, I don't know if Bill wants to talk about that, or Ed.
What I'm going to do is give you a segue.
All right.
Because, I see this facility out here as a campus, and it'd be a campus for outdoor recreation. You and your boys have done an excellent job in creating this campus. And I believe adding a senior center, which we haven't done anything for the seniors in our community, would be nothing but an asset. They're going to, and I'm not going to steal your thunder, but
no, you're fine.
I want you to tell us how this would affect our community by putting cable out there and the senior center.
Okay, so as we all know,
and who's going to run it?
Yeah, so cable wants to come out there, and if you look at the facility now, we have our community room. The cable company is going to be on the very end of the property, so in order to bring them on, we have to build the senior center first, attach it to the current building, then cable. So, I started here in 95. We've never had an active senior center. We had a vets hall. It was a room with tile, and they played bingo. This new facility would be 82 by 37. It would have a serving kitchen, and it wouldn't be a senior citizen serving kitchen. It would be a community serving kitchen. And we envisioned just a refrigerator, a microwave, sink. If you want to have a baby shower, wedding shower, you're bringing crock pots, and we'll have ample. But we don't want to have a stove in there. A residential stove is just a waste of money. You can heat everything up via electricity. It would not be a senior kitchen that we know of, that we're all used to, where they would bring their food and store it. No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be a refrigerator that's used for rentals. If the seniors want to bring a lunch that day and put it in, fine, but we're not leaving food in there daily. It'll be a facility, the kitchen to be used by not only the current community room, but the senior center as well. So it's going to enhance those possibilities. Bill said it, you know, if we build this, the Parks and Rec is going to assume the responsibility. We're not going to, we want to have a full-time staff person there. All they're doing is programming seniors. And when I say programming, we're going to be active. We're not playing bingo. We're not playing cards. We're going to play tennis. We're going to play pickleball. We're going to do the softball. We're going to cross-country ski. We're going to do golf leagues. Yeah, I'm 53. A senior's 55. Those days of sitting around are over. Seniors nowadays want to be active. So that's what we had envisioned in that facility, and we'll program it daily so those needs are met. So the township would be removed completely from it as far as finances, responsibility, insurance. We would program it, staff it, run it, maintain it. It would be our baby. So that would take you out of that headache. It only makes sense to put it at the park. You know, a lot of people were against turning the maintenance barn into a community room, that it wouldn't work, and it's been just the opposite. It's been great. And if you can envision seniors out there now getting out playing paddleball, tennis, disc golf, walking in the park, yeah, just walking. That park offers so many other ability or ideas that we can do just for health and wellness. Tai Chi, yoga, those types of things that currently doesn't exist. So when we sold the vet cell, I think the note was $400,000, Joe?
Around that range, a little more.
So we had, we built our office, we converted our office, converted the maintenance barn, and we have about $14,000 left over. But when we did our office, there was talk about a senior center coming someday and cable. So we took another $75,000 of that money and invested into a bigger septic system, a bigger well, all bigger electricity. So we had the vision to build that thing now for the future, so it's ready to go. So we invested another $75,000 on the current site. So when we're ready to go, it's all ready. It's not like we have to call an electrician back out, bigger septic field, bigger well, all that's been done.
Parking?
Parking, we've already started, you know, if you go by there now, you see all those road millions in there. That's for the parking lot. Jeff and I sat down with my park superintendent. We saved enough money in our bond after completing every project to use the remaining bond money to pave the entire parking lot. So that's a huge savings to not only the Parks and Rec, but the township and the cable company. We'll use the bond money, which can be used because we talked to our bond attorney. He said absolutely. We've already got the lights for the parking lot. Those came on donation. We've got all the lights for the senior center. Those came on donation. So, you know, I'd like to see us move forward. I mentioned to the Parks and Rec Commission last night that we would be obligated or be willing to bring $100,000 to the table. The problem is we don't have the other $300,000. So, you know, we need your help. And we couldn't have done all this without you guys. You guys have been great. Pole barn and now this. But, you know, as we always say, it's an investment in our community. I think that's what we need to do as leaders. If we've got money in our fund equity we can spend on our community, there's no better way to spend it. So if you guys would entrust us with a gift of $300,000, we'll kick in the other 100. And you know me, we'll be as frugal as we can. We're going to use the same contractors that we've used. Everybody's from Oxford. Painter, carpenter, electrician, plumbers, well drillers. Everybody is from the Oxford area. So we've got quotes from all of them, so we're not just pulling a number out of the sky. I mean, we've done our due diligence, and we can build this $400,000 or less. Thanks.
I move to allocate $300,000 from the general fund balance to Oxford Township Parks and Recreation to assist in the construction cost for a senior center to be located at Seymour Lake Township Park.
It's been moved and supported. Any other questions? Yes, Curtis.
How does this coordinate with the progress with the cable facility being built in conjunction?
Well, I'm not one of the board members of the Cable Commission, but I am on the Cable Commission. They've set aside $300,000. They're fully aware of what we're doing. They've been in contact with Ron and myself. I mean, the Cable Commission, along with the architects, we've already told them what we need.
We were just at the architects, if you don't mind, Mr. Dunn, last week. Bill Service and I and Jeff. I mean, they're ready to roll. We're ready to roll.
We're ready to go.
So keep in mind, this has to be, now I don't want to speak for the cable, but it's my understanding that they need to be in by February. So it's like giddy up, we need to get going. And keep in mind, the Parks and Rec, we have to build a concession stand, a bathroom, an ice rink, and another pavilion, but we're gonna make it happen, because these contractors are all the same people doing stuff for us now. They can pretty much just stay at the park system all summer, so it'll get done.
Yes, Curtis?
And with Auditor Emmons here, do you see an issue with that allocation?
I think Mr. Davis is on a roll, and I think you ought to get out of his way. It's, what is that saying about the taking blood, getting blood out of a turnip? I mean, the man...
Stone.
Thank you. Well, if he's not an accountant, you could fool me, because he knows the numbers. He knows what he's spent, what's projected left on his project, and he's very diligent with the numbers. I double check him, he's right on. At any time, I can ask him where he's at.
Well, your cousin Ramus just spoke.
She's a delight to work with. I only get nervous when she calls me in the off-season of the audit, then I get a little nervous, but other than that.
Is there any other questions from the board? If not, roll call.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Supervisor Dunn?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Dur?
Yes.
And Trustee Nichols?
Yes.
One other thing, if I may, Mr. Dunn, I would assume that the money will be rolled over to our budget, so I don't have to keep
It will
coming
be
back. Okay.
rolled over
It'll
to
be
you.
transferred over tomorrow.
And we will keep you guys up to date as we progress along, so.
And I'll be there beside you because I'll be taking care of the
Awesome.
township, and I'll be trying to help the cable too.
Okay, exciting time. Thank you guys so much for your vision. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Budget amendment, building and site fund, Supervisor Dunn, that'd be me. We're looking to, way back when, the board authorized $270,000 for the piece of equipment that's sitting out there to our left. I have gone a little bit over budget, but I will explain why there's a $30,000 increase. Initially, we were supposed to take gas from this building over to the unit over there. They ran into boulders, and I can't believe that in Oxford. Ran into some big boulders and couldn't do it, so they had to take a 4-inch gas main and take it from that side of the building, through the building, out the building, down and through open cut. And that was an additional $30,000. And there's been a couple overruns, but we've got a great piece of equipment out there. It's ready to go. We've got a couple more bills, the small bills. But again, I'd appreciate if we move $75,000 over to cover some bills.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the following budget amendments. 2018 General Fund, 175,000 from 101-299-890-000 contingency to 101-901-965.471 contributions billing and site. And then also 2018 Building and Site Fund, 471 $35,000 revenue, 471-000-581-101 contributions from General Fund, and $75,000 for the expense of the 471-208-821-001 engineering fees.
Move it.
Second.
Seconded. Questions? Roll call.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Dur?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Nichols?
Yes.
Supervisor Dunn?
Yes. Let's move on to the sale of a piece of land. Treasurer Ferrari.
Board members, as you know, we went through this process before. The couple was supposed to be here tonight. I guess they couldn't make it. They kind of went back and forth as to whether they wanted it or didn't want it, didn't want it, didn't want it. Now they want it back again. As I present to my township board, see what they say. It's that back piece of property there. Curtis and I walked it before. It's totally useless to anybody. But to give them a little bit of buffer if and when the township decides to possibly sell a big piece of property. I told them, I said, in order for us to consider selling, you're covering all of our costs. They said, fine. That's where $900 came from.
Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion that the Oxford Township Board of Trustees authorizes Treasurer Joseph T. Ferrari to split combined property on North Baldwin Road from Township Board parcel number P04181070. The purchase price and survey reimbursement for this property is as follows. Parcel ID 0418100033, owner Chad and Samantha Stanek, address 1648 North Baldwin, purchase price $900. They will pay for the surveys.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Roll call.
Trustee Nichols?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Supervisor Dunn?
Yes.
Trustee Dur?
Yes.
I'm going to do a do-over before we go to anything farther. Ron, I'm going to ask you to come back up again. You guys, the board has authorize a little more money to go out for the generator. Ron hasn't mentioned that he's received a generator from one of our constructions going on right now. It's over there at Mickelson. The generator was there, and he's been able to latch onto it, take it out there, and he's going to use that at the senior center for the whole complex there. So now what we have are 2 areas for warming stations if we ever need them. We got this building here, and we'll also have the complex out there at the park, and I think that's a wonderful thing to have.
Well, I just think the more people we get buying into what we do, I mean, that's how we get 90% of the stuff out there. And someone had the vision here, it was Bill, he said, hey, there's an opportunity to get this generator, do you want it? So before we even looked at it, we said, yeah, we'll take it. And it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna run that whole facility. So hats off, the more people, if you guys see that, you see something, call us. I mean, we'll probably come get it if we need it.
Yes.
How is it fueled?
It's diesel, isn't it? No,
it's gas.
It's natural gas, yeah.
Automatic startup?
Yes.
Would it cover the community or the?
It'll cover that whole building, cable.
Whole building.
It'll run
the cable?
It'll run the whole building. Yeah.
Site protection, everything?
Everything.
Excellent.
It's got 120 hours.
I just thought we'd add that.
Yeah, it's got 120
What we have out there.
hours. Otherwise, it was going to be scrapped. So we went over and secured it, and yeah, so that'll be another asset to the facility.
It has been moved. It's not our problem now. We're giving it away.
A little bit better than when we set the belts on.
Well, the one at the Betzel,
Yeah, that one. We wouldn't even take that one. That's how bad it was.
items removed, we have none. Public comment. Is there any public comment? Let's move on to Board of Trustee comment. We'll start with Elgin.
Just to address the drone, because I know a thing or two about drones. I do know that fire departments, police departments are using drones more and more. I don't know how many are being used here in Michigan. I do know that there is a city in New Hampshire police department that's using it. And so far, they've saved roughly 7 lives of walkways, people that, were in hospital under protection that just walked away from the hospital. So it's a vital system. It's one more thing that they can add. And I think I would wonder if there's any other place in Michigan that really use a drone, because it would be a great opportunity for our fire department to be an example of what can be done with it.
Any other comments there, Elgin?
No,
We're not going to comment back and forth. We're just gonna-
that's okay. That was my only statement, and I think that's good.
Patty? Kurt?
All right, yes, July 9, last day to register for the August 7th, 2018 primary election. And also, it's been mentioned before, but Seymour Celebration, July 6th and 7th. It's a great event, so good job, Ron.
Thank you.
Yeah, as long as we're talking about Ron, nice job, Ron. You're a tremendous asset to the community. I know you live and breathe Park and Rec, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Rena, I want to thank you for the kind comments, but also, too, I also want to thank my staff. Tracy Devereaux and Lindsay Young also do a good job for me, so you couldn't do as good of a job as I do without their support as well. Also, board members, I sent you an email today, help you starting next week. Please keep in the back of your mind what you want to do with that remaining property once that process is done. That will be coming up, probably, I'm thinking, September, October, as to how the board wants to handle the remaining 103 acres.
We don't have to do anything.
We don't, we can just keep it there. That's all I have.
I would like to thank Ron and his board for giving the money for the senior center. I think none of that's been done for our seniors, and they pay their taxes, and I think it's
And they continue to pay their school tax.
and they continue, and they get the least amount for their taxes, so I think this is a good way to spend that money.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Moved? Nobody supports, I guess we stay here.
Support.
She moved and supported?
I support, Margie supported.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.